Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you are well. It is Rosanna here, and I wanted to do a little Friday check-in, as I like to do. It seems to be the day where I can reflect on everything that's been going on, and I really wanted to make this video because it's something that affects all of us. Anyone who is taking the time to step out of their comfort zone to do the deep inner work that is going to support the shift that they want. Just see where the camera is. There it is. Okay. And actually daring to do it and then sabotaging themselves. So if you've been following my story, the last 5 years I've been working with this amazing teacher, Susanna Kennedy, and I've been reprogramming my subconscious, and I trained as an emotional mental detox coach through her, and then developed my own programs, which are what I've been sharing with you all. Namely the Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me program, which is for anyone who wants to strip away their conditioning and reveal their essence, their truth, and live their lives from that. Hello, everybody who's joining me. And also the Conceive with Ease course, which is for those who want to conceive a baby and maybe have been challenged by getting pregnant, either through known medical reasons or no medical cause, but they're still not actually managing to get pregnant. They're spending the time trying, but not actually getting the results, or those who are considering having a baby and want to do the groundwork ahead of time. And more recently, we've had Co-Creation Success, which is something I've been talking about as an entry-level course to the deeper work that I do, the deep diving work. So Co-Creation Success is the dipping your toes in, and then the Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me and the Conceive with Ease programs are the deep diving, the reprogramming your subconscious. So these got created by moi, and I got to start living my dream. So if you've looked at the posts I've been putting out, Co-Creation Success was something I ran in the summertime. And in that time, everything that I've been working towards in the last 5 years, started to manifest and literally land in my lap, just like that. Everything from a partner coming into my life that really could meet me at the level that I wanted to be met right now, to successfully running my courses and bringing the money in. I had set the intention to have £10,000 months, and I achieved that. I got to my 40th birthday and had the most amazing time, and also got invited to go to a beautiful paradise island. In fact, more than one, 3, and I chose one to actually go to. And all of this for me was such a huge step out of the challenges that I've actually experienced in my life. There have been so many. There's no way you get to do what I do if you haven't actually been through a lot. And recently, my coach, when we were defining what it is that I actually do, she was like, well, really, you're a multidimensional life coach, to which I totally spat my dummy, because I was like, life coach? Who am I to be coaching people as to how to live their lives? I'm a success coach, because what I do is I help to clear up where each person bullshits themselves and prevents themselves from having their success. And of course, you have to have been a master of failure before you become a master of success. And this has been my story, is how we self-sabotage. But what do you actually do when you get to the point that, oh my goodness, you have achieved your dream? What happened for me was, over the years, I've been writing lists. I remember learning this as a tool years ago, in terms of actually writing down as if you've already achieved what you have wanted. So giving thanks is like you're talking to a friend and just saying, you know, it's amazing. I'm so grateful that this has manifested in my life. And leaving the details in what you're writing down in terms of the flavor of what you want to experience. I actually found a list I had written 5 years ago. So it was before I actually started the work with my teacher. And basically, I scared the shit out of myself, because everything that I had written down in this 4-page A4 letter to myself had actually come true. And then it's just like, well, what next? What do I do now? You know, I've achieved high-end clients working with me one-to-one. I've achieved group coaching programs that are continuing to work, and we're building on every time, creating my own content, sorting out everything within my home life to be in congruence with what I value. What do I do now? Oh, partners come in, treating me the way I want to be treated. I'm having that feeling experience that I want to have. What do I do now? And I actually spiraled into a space of huge self-doubt, because the old programming was basically, you can't have it all. It's not the better it gets, the better it gets. It's every time you get a nice win, you're going to dive deep as far as you have actually gone up. So in terms of what balance means, it means there's as much pleasure as pain in your life. Therefore, you've just had a huge win. Never mind all of the challenges that you've had in the past. You're going to come diving down into shit again, because that's what you expect. That's what's normal in your life. That's what's always happened. And this is what keeps people moving out of their comfort zones. Okay, this is the uncomfortable comfort zone I'm talking about. It's the devil you know rather than the devil you don't know, because it's better to deal with the challenges you deal with every day. And I know you'll know this in your life, than it is to actually be able to step into something new, uncharted territory, and to potentially find yourself in a worse position than you've currently been in, or one you've been in the past. So, how do you get yourself out of a funk? Because one of the things that really happened for me was I suddenly felt like I had to uphold all of these things I'd achieved, and was feeling tremendous pressure to be able to just be on top of my game all of the time. No duvet days, no days of questioning, no days of wondering whether I've got it right, no days of doubting myself, no days of doubting the choices that I'm currently living out. It had to just be, no, everything's great all of the time, and no upsetting people. So the shadow side of all of this is really that we have this whole people-pleasing thing going on, and also the need to show ourselves to be right all the time. And yet, we learn the most through getting things wrong, right? So part of being successful is being able to accept how you've got to be successful, which is learning through the challenges you've had, getting to states of understanding that allow you to have a breakthrough, and then, you know, recognizing that that level of perception that you've currently got is going to change again. So again, I was reminded, different levels, different devils. So as we grow and we evolve and we move out of where we're used to being into something new, what happens is we end up needing to expand into that, and to feel that we are worthy and deserving of what we have created. And if we don't have the belief in us that we are truly worthy and deserving of what we've created, we will start to self-sabotage, and often we'll test ourselves. Certainly this was my experience. So suddenly I started to feel that my luck wasn't going to last, that it was a fluke, that somehow I was going to get found out for not being as perfect, as good, as whatever as people expected me to be. And certainly when you work with people who have worked with you closely, or have looked up to you, and then they work with you closely, and they actually start to see the fullness of your being, and you don't please them all the time, you can start to feel again that you are, or I'll say I am, out of integrity with my truth. And yet part of our truth is actually the fact that we're not just how we present ourselves, we're everything else in between. So as a multifaceted diamond, as a multifaceted, multidimensional being, there'll be the aspects of you that you have developed, that you have expanded, that you've grown, that you can say are successes, and then there'll be elements of you that you are still bringing into the light, bringing into consciousness. So I ended up in a situation where last week no one showed up in my Thursday 7:30 dynamic yoga class, which is probably the most popular class other than when I run in Croydon. It's been packed. It's been packed for years. So it's just like, what's going on here? And it really knocked my confidence. And then I started to think, oh, you're not one of those 20-year-old yoga teachers, Rose. You're 40 now. You don't know how to use Instagram properly, you don't know how to do this properly. Well, you know, you're not really that good, are you? You think you're so shit hot, but you're really not that good. And again, what is that voice? Well, it's an aspect of my ego, it's an aspect of my conditioning, it's an aspect of myself that I have learned to listen to. And yet the voices that voice that is in my head is not one that came from me. It is one that was projected onto me by those I love, when they have tried to keep me safe and not to allow me to be too big for my boots, or not to be too out there for people, or too much for people to take. So, you know, in the best intentions, our parents are kind of like, you know, you can't be like this, you need to be like this. And if you have in your family bloodline huge people pleasing patterns, and the fact that you need to save face, that it's important to not actually share your truth unless it's an appealing truth, and also that it's wrong to put yourself first. It's wrong to have your needs met. You must always take care of other people. Then these aspects of your being are going to come up and go, hello, remember me. Now, I've said to you, I've done loads of reprogramming my subconscious, right? So everything that has been obvious to me, everything that was plaguing my life to date, that was keeping me where I was, had been dealt with. And then, I end up in this new place where actually I'm in a new field, new opportunities, going to Grand Cayman next month for a whole month. Like, this is massive. This is like huge for me, dealing with decision makers, dealing with high-end clients, because those are the people I want to work with, because I want to help shift policy. That's my truth. Whether it's right or wrong by other people's standards, it doesn't matter. It's what I want to achieve. It's where my passion lies. All of this just led to new levels of my ego being able to present herself. And really what she's trying to do is say, don't go there. That's too much. That's too scary. That could lead you somewhere where you fall flat on your face. Have you thought about everything that could go wrong? Well, what you focus on grows. You start thinking of everything that could go wrong, then it's going to go wrong, right? Because you focus in that direction. And when something doesn't go according to plan, according to what we wanted it to go, we can end up then looking backwards and seeking to try and control everything so we don't end up in that situation again. There is the ego programming. Yet, when you follow your heart, something very interesting happens. If your heart is wounded, your heart is going to lead you to situations and opportunities to heal that wound. Now, the way that our ego will interpret the healing of this wound is, see, you followed your heart. Look where that got you. You got hurt again. Shame on you. We don't follow our hearts, do we, Rosanna, or whoever? We listen to intellect. We listen to past experience. We prevent ourselves from that. We don't trust anybody. We don't even trust ourselves. And yet, that's all because we like to avoid pain. And in the looking to avoid pain, we constantly limit our experience. Now, in this instance, when you are stepping into new levels of success in yourself, the pain is going to be the doubt, the judgment, the inner voices that you don't like to listen to because you know they don't really get you anywhere nice. But what's easy to do is to intellectualize your feelings rather than to actually feel them. So when people talk about spiritual bypassing, owning their shadow, transcending, not transcending, this is very much about the fact that we can find it so challenging to be in here, in this heart truth. I feel sad. I feel scared. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like this is too much for me. I feel like a fraud. Whatever the things are that are coming up for you, we'll then start going into stories in our heads about why we're feeling this and whose fault it is, and the fact that we're not really feeling it, but actually we're just trying to distract ourselves, and this isn't going to actually work, so we're just going to move in another direction. So when you are looking to intellectualize your feelings, you just get into stories again, and those stories will hold you in places you don't want to be. So it is guaranteed. You have a success, you step out of your comfort zone, stuff's going to come up. It's going to be new stuff. Can I do this again? Yes, of course you can do it again, says higher self. No way can you do it again. You were so lucky the first time. God knows how you managed it, but you're not going to do it again. People are going to see right through you. That is the voice we are used to listening to. That's the one that keeps us back. That's the one that stops us moving forward, because we're scared of persecution. We're scared of judgment. We're scared of envy. We don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable because we are shining in our light. Who the hell does she think she is? Hasn't she got big for her boots? All of that, right? Well, you know the Marianne Williamson quote. You know that we're all here to shine our lights brightly. Okay, we're here to be the best version of ourselves as an example to others. There is always the choice to go, I want some of what she's got. How does she do it? Great, I can have that for myself too. Or, whatever she's putting out there, I haven't got that. I'm not good enough for that. I'm not worthy. I won't even try. And that's the pathway of lack, the pathway of suffering. So we talked about having it all. You're allowed to change your dream, by the way. You're allowed to achieve it, and you're allowed to expand on it. You're also allowed to decide that you thought that's what was going to make you happy, but actually Maybe it's something else. And this is the whole thing about the way I work, is it's never going to be about the outside result. It's about the inner feeling. It's about coming back to the inner feeling. I am enough. I am worthy of my successes. I am deserving of all the good in my life. And I am choosing to vibrate at this frequency because this is the frequency I want to be showing up in the world. And, you know, when I fall from it, fall from grace, I know how to get myself back again. So the radical self-honesty, the radical self-love means that we show up for ourselves. Unconditional love is not something we can offer others if we're not really giving it to ourselves, because what we see unconditional love as being is saving others in order to help ourselves feel better. But we put all of our energy into them and into their stories and into how we can best show up in their lives, rather than actually stepping into ourselves in truth and being in a space where we can say, all right, what's showing up for me here that I now need to bring more light and more love to? My friend Tara Love Perry, she's awesome. She has this awesome book called I Love You Me, and it's all about loving the parts of you that you abandon because they're uncomfortable. So whether it's the scared part of you, the angry part of you, the envious part of you, the jealous part of you, the judgmental part of you, the part of you that feels you perceive as lazy, whatever the story is, it doesn't matter. These are the bits of us that we like to push aside, we like to hide, we don't like to own, and they need to be coming up. They need to be loved by you, because in being really comfortable with yourself, in me being really comfortable with myself, I can be here. I can say, yeah, you know what happens on this path? You grow, you expand. And then in order to get to the next expansion, you need to anchor more deeply into this expansion, into this vibration. And once you have fully anchored into it and you've owned all of it and you've seen what comes up, then you can go into your next expansion. So we stay stuck unless we have goals that keep expanding us and keep taking us out of the comfort zone that we are currently in, because the comfort zone expands. So doing things that scares you is helpful, right? But at the same time, it's being able to have a structure around this thing that scares you and to be able to go, all right, well, why is it scaring me? Oh, it's because I need to master something that I'm not yet a master of. And I am scared of failure. I'm scared of rejection. I'm scared of abandonment. So the magic formula for all of this is just to accept that in our ever-growing expansion of self-awareness, there is always going to be stuff that comes up. That doesn't mean that every time you have a big win, you're going to have a big fall. That doesn't mean that. And it's really important not to see it that way. You can create that. I know I created it because there was an element of my subconscious programming and shadow that was scared of me becoming more public, more open, more visible, because it surely means I'm going to be under more attack. It surely means that people are going to judge me. They're going to envy me. I'm going to make them feel uncomfortable. I'm charging too much. I'm expecting too much. I'm saying that it's really that easy when it really isn't that easy. All of these things, they come up. They're there. They're like, stay small. Don't risk this. Don't risk this. And it's like, well, what am I here for? I'm in service. I'm here to grow through my own lessons and then to share with those who are interested what I learned from my journey and then how I can support them in their journey. That's my passion. That's why I'm here. That's why I call myself a multidimensional success coach, because one thing being in the third dimensional physical reality, or the fourth dimensional physical reality, it's another thing pulling in consciousness from other places, whether it's your soul family, your star family, whatever is extra and beyond our current perception as humans, and to be able to integrate that into our daily physical lives. So what it comes down to, if we are likely to sabotage our own success, which we are, it is important to remember that it's two things that are very, very important to anchor, and this is what anchoring means. One is the belief that you are truly deserving of what you have and what you want to create, and two, that you are truly worthy of it, right? So actually that's the same one, blind spot there. The first thing is believing that it is possible to have what you want, believing that it is possible. That's all you have to start with, that it's possible to have the experience you want, whether that's increasing your wealth, whether that is actually opening to your having a new wonderful relationship and being loved just as you are, whether it is about losing the weight that you want to lose or shifting career and being successful with your new venture, whatever it is that you want, you have to believe it is possible for you to have it, including a baby, including a new version of you, including healthy relationships, including just about anything that you feel is beyond you, that up until this point you have been challenged again and again and again to seek to do in your life, but you keep falling, you keep failing in your perception. What it's going to take is belief, and also an understanding that you are truly worthy of what you want just because you want it. So if you've never been put first in your life by anyone else, it's going to be very difficult for you to get comfortable with putting yourself first. If you are used to seeing people struggle and really work hard to achieve anything of value, then it's going to be difficult for you to believe that you can do anything other than that actually you can co-create with grace and ease, and that the better it gets, the better it gets. But the truth is, when you have learned a lesson, it stops being something you attract in your life anymore, right? So if the lesson is unconditional love of self, no matter what, that unconditional love of self is going to require you to love up your shadow when your shadow shows up. And therefore, understanding that you will do a huge amount of clearing work, whether you do the Fearless course or Conceive with Ease or Co-Creation Success, so much will come up into your awareness and you'll be able to see yourself differently. But you will also need to be there for yourself when you've had a beautiful creation, and then what happens is after that you have a miscreation. What we then do, and this is the challenge which distracts us from where we want to be going and continuing to grow, is we go, I thought I got past this. Why have I created this again? Why is this happening again? I thought I'd achieved past this. I thought I'd outgrown this. And yet it's coming up again and again. No matter how many times I try, this thing keeps coming up. For me, it tends to be technology stuff. Quite funny. The lesson with that is, again, okay, can I love myself through the fact that this is what's come up? Can I love myself despite the fact that I have achieved all these wonderful things, but in this area of my life, I still find myself challenged considerably to be able to step forward and to move out of this being what normally happens. So is this a reason to stay in the uncomfortable comfort zone? No. One of the things that I had to really look at was the fact that I had achieved everything on my list. I had got to the point I'd had a taste of everything. What I then needed to have a longing for was maintaining it. What does it feel like to really be in flow in this area of my life most of the time? What does it feel like to be consistently delivering easily? What does it feel like to have a constant flow of clients that want to work with you, that are waiting patiently to work with you, that you don't have to immediately serve just because they've said they want to work with you? Overworking is something that successful people are very good at doing, right? Because there's this pressure to keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. And yet when we really listen within, it's almost as though what's really desired is just the space to say, okay, and you can rest now, and you can enjoy this, and you can feel peace. There's no big monster trying to get you. But it is going to require that you allow yourself to have new dreams. It will require that you are open to refining, that you are open to fine-tuning whatever it is that you're seeking to create. And it is going to require that you will find, as you step into an outer resonance of what your inner resonance is, so whatever it is you want to create has a vibrational match. You get into the feeling state of it and you start to see it in your world once you've once you've cleared the programming around it that's preventing you having it. And as a result of that, your world around you changes. Then it's like, okay, how long does it change for? Okay, what's going to make this change again? This is where you have to step up again for yourself and keep anchoring the new frequency. That's through gratitude. Gratitude is what helps us to keep feeding the energy that we're currently in. And forgiveness of self and others when things come in that seem to bring clouds in the otherwise beautiful sky of sunshine. So in all of this, The reason I'm making it is we've got the next round of Co-Creation Success starting on the 3rd of February. Both myself and my lovely right and left-hand woman have almost been crapping ourselves because we're wondering what's going to come through this round of Co-Creation Success because the last round was so powerful. Now, both myself and her had done the reprogramming, the Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me reprogramming ahead of the Co-Creation Success course. But the truth is, you can actually do it either way. If your budget is £200, then you can start with the Co-Creation Success course and therefore remove the blocks to being able to bring in the money because you deserve it. And the money comes when you decide you really want to do something. The resources appear. All you have to do is say yes, really. Then you can open up to doing the Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me or the Conceive with Ease course. However, if you've got the budget for it already, dive in. I've got one more space on my Fearless course and I'm opening up for the next Conceive with Ease one-to-one clients as well if you would like to work with me one-to-one. And then you can do Co-Creation Success as myself and my lovely lady to the left and right of me did and see the power of what actually happens. But really, it comes to deserving. Really, it comes to believing we are deserving and maintaining the vibrational frequency that we want to be met at. Things will come up. It's then the radical self-love and the tools that you've learned with the programs that help you to move forward. So even miscreating helps us to be successful in the end because it shows us where we're not showing up for ourselves. It shows us where we've abandoned ourselves in our success. And again, in all of this, you have the opportunity to just keep setting yourself free of the expectations that you have of yourself, which again, you didn't put there. They came through your conditioning. The obvious ones are easy to clear. The less obvious ones come up through our achievements. So it's not fearing the fact that as you achieve something else will come up that will make you feel destabilized just enough so that your roots will grow stronger. So actually think about the analogy of a very strong plant. Those gardeners who know how to make a plant really strong will see the roots of something growing and then they'll start to play with those roots a bit. They'll kind of shake the soil. They'll destabilize what's growing in order to make those roots stronger. As a result of that, the more those roots get strong, the more the plant flowers. And this is what we do. So the ego is actually a real blessing because what it will do is it will reveal the next level of self-sabotage. And all that requires is your love, your commitment to overcome and to trust yourself, to trust implicitly that your truth is valid and you do not need to abandon it in order to maintain someone else's truth or keep them happy. But what you need to do is not project it onto them, actually own it as your truth, which is simply a perception. Remember that fear, if it's fear-based truth or perception, false expectations appearing real, it's a misunderstanding of what's actually going on in the situation that destabilizes you. All the same, the blessing of it, the gift of it, is going to be that it strengthens you if you are willing to learn from it and you're willing to do the self-inquiry and the mirror work through the people you love and trust, your coach, your peers, the people who are on the path with you to support you into your next breakthrough. So actually, it gets exciting. It gets exciting to step further out of that uncomfortable comfort zone and to get comfortable with the unfamiliar, because it's through that discomfort becoming comfort that you are able to say yes to yourself consistently and to let go of other people's stories and other people's pain being what motivates your journey forward for yourself. Deal with you. It's the best example that you can ever give anyone else. I send you lots of love. I'm going to leave it there. I will put some details about registering your interest for a breakthrough call if you're interested in Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me or Conceive with Ease. And I'll also put the link for Co-Creation Success in this video comments box. However, just bear in mind that the landing page says that the course started on the 12th of January, which is tomorrow. It's actually starting on the 3rd of February, 7:30 p.m. And I'll be starting both the next round of Fearless and Co-Creation following me from the beautiful Grand Cayman Islands. So I'll be in paradise and I will be sharing with you my journey there and the next leg of the adventure together. Lots and lots of love to you. Remember, if your heart wants to do something, go there, okay? Go there and utilize your mind, your brain, to allow the how to reveal itself. Don't look for reasons not to, because you will find them. If you look for reasons to go ahead with what your heart is telling you, you will find them too. And I just had someone sign up yesterday who literally did the Prosperity Challenge a year ago. She wanted to do the Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me program with me. She didn't have the money. I said, do the Prosperity Challenge, which is on my website, with the intention of having the money to do the Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me course in divine timing at the time that is right for you. And she said to me yesterday, it's a year to the day, and you're right, the money just came, and I am ready, and it's the perfect time, and yes, I'm joining you this time round. She has tremendous belief. The belief allows the possibility, and with me, you work on the worthiness. Okay? You know I've been there. You know I'll take you through it. Lots of love. Namaste. Take care. Have a lovely weekend.